First Contact Protocol. The Galactic Coalition vessel Eternal Dominance loomed over the small human research ship like a predator eyeing its prey. At 3 kilometers long, its obsidian hull absorbed rather than reflected the light of the distant star, giving it the appearance of a void cut into space itself. Commander Ajax, a veteran of a dozen subjugation campaigns, observed the primitive human vessel with 6 compound eyes, each facet analyzing different aspects of the potential threat. There was none. Pathetic, he chittered to his executive officer, Vrel. Their hull is essentially aluminum and carbon fiber. One shot from our tertiary batteries would vaporize them. The Intelligence Division reports they only achieved faster-than-light travel 30 Earth years ago. Vrel responded, her mandibles clicking in what passed for amusement among the Eridax species. Most civilizations that join the coalition are centuries beyond this level of technology. The human research vessel, Discovery, was barely 200 meters long. Its white hull was marked with blue letters spelling out United Earth Scientific Corps alongside a stylized emblem of Earth with olive branches. The ship had been conducting routine stellar cartography in what humans called the Proxima Centauri system when the coalition fleet emerged from hyperspace. Open communications, Ajax ordered. Let's see what these primitives have to say for themselves. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a human female with dark skin and short-cropped hair. She wore a simple blue uniform with silver insignia on the collar. "This is Dr. Elena Reyes of the United Earth Research Vessel Discovery," she said, her voice remarkably calm given the circumstances. "We are on a peaceful scientific mission." "To whom am I speaking?" Ajax's translator implant converted her words instantly. "I am Supreme Commander Ajax of the Galactic Coalition. Your vessel has been detected operating in Coalition-claimed space." Dr. Reyes frowned slightly. "We were unaware of any territorial claims in this system. Earth has maintained a research outpost in Proxima Centauri for over 2 decades without encountering any other spacefaring civilizations. Your ignorance does not negate our claim," Ajax responded dismissively. "The Coalition has designated this sector for resource extraction. Your presence here is unauthorized." Elena maintained her composure, though Ajax noted a slight increase in her heart rate, according to the biometric scanners. "We would be happy to discuss diplomatic relations and territorial boundaries. The people of Earth are eager to establish peaceful contact with other civilizations." Ajax's executive officer leaned in. "Commander, their vessel shows no weapon signatures. They appear to be genuinely unaware of coalition protocols." "Typical of emergent species," Ajax replied. To the human, he said, "Dr. Rice, the coalition does not discuss territorial claims with non-member species. You will transmit all data regarding human technological capabilities, resource deposits in your home system, and defensive installations. A subjugation fleet will be dispatched to your homeworld to begin resource extraction and integration." The color drained slightly from Elena's face, but her voice remained steady. "Commander Ajax, I'm not authorized to provide that information. I request time to contact Earth government officials who can engage in proper diplomatic negotiations." Ajax's patience was wearing thin. The coalition had integrated 17 species in the past century alone, and none had offered meaningful resistance once they understood the technological disparity. Humans would be no different. "You have 6 hours to compile the requested data," he said. "After that, we will extract it from your ship's computers forcibly if necessary." He signaled for the communication to be cut. "6 hours seems generous," Vrel observed after the human's image disappeared. "It gives our Intelligence Division time to infiltrate their primitive computer systems," Ajax explained, "and it allows them the illusion of choice. Most species are more compliant when they believe they've exhausted all options." On board the Discovery, Elena Reyes immediately called an emergency meeting of her senior staff. "Options?" she asked, looking around the conference room at the 5 other humans who comprised the command crew. Chief Engineer Marcus Chen shook his head. "Their ship is enormous, and our scans indicate energy readings off the charts. We couldn't outrun them even if we diverted all power to engines. What about the quantum comm? Asked Dr. Sanjay Kapoor, the ship's science officer. Elena nodded. Already sent a priority message to Earth Command. But even with instantaneous communication, it would take any rescue ships at least 3 days to reach us using conventional FTL. Security Chief Carmen Rodriguez leaned forward. Then we stall. Give them useless data, corrupt files, anything to buy time. They'll see through that immediately, Elena replied. Based on their technology level, they could probably crack our entire database in minutes if they wanted to. The room fell silent until Navigation Officer Thomas Park spoke up. What if we don't need 3 days? All eyes turned to him. Explain, Elena said. The coalition doesn't know about the Q ships, Park said quietly. Elena's eyes widened. That's classified information, Lieutenant. So is Earth being threatened with invasion, Park countered. Look, I served on the Thunderstrike before transferring to scientific course. If we can alert Earth Command to send a Q ship instead of a conventional vessel. The Quantum Defense Initiative was humanity's most closely guarded secret. While publicly Earth appeared to be a newcomer to FTL technology, they had in fact made a breakthrough 30 years earlier that had allowed them to bypass conventional development paths. Rather than announce this to the galaxy at large, Earth's unified government had made the strategic decision to present a facade of technological limitation, while quietly building an advanced defensive fleet that operated on principles completely different from those used by other known species. Elena considered for a long moment before nodding. Sanjay, prepare a special encrypted packet for Earth Command. Authorization raise Omega-7. Include all our scans of the coalition vessel and specify that this is a first contact protocol situation. 6 hours later, Azrax was growing impatient. The human ship had maintained communication silence despite repeated hails. Their time is up, he declared. Prepare tractor beams and boarding parties. Commander, his sensor officer called out. I'm detecting a quantum disturbance at the edge of our sensor range. Azrax frowned. Define quantum disturbance. Unknown, sir. It's not consistent with any known form of FTL transit. Energy readings are peculiar. Before Azrax could demand clarification, the communications officer interrupted. Incoming transmission from the human vessel, Commander. On screen, Azrax ordered. Dr. Rice appeared, looking remarkably more confident than she had 6 hours earlier. Commander Azrax, I've received instructions from Earth Command regarding your demands. And, Azrax prompted impatiently. The United Earth Government respectfully declines your offer of integration and suggests an alternative arrangement of mutual non-interference while proper diplomatic channels are established. Laughter rippled across the bridge of the eternal dominance. Azrax himself clicked his mandibles in amusement. You decline. Perhaps I'd failed to make the situation clear, Dr. Reyes. The coalition doesn't ask permission. We have over 5,000 vessels in our fleet, technologies your species can't even comprehend, and the combined military might of 17 integrated species. Your entire civilization exists because we haven't yet bothered to extend our resource operations to your sector. Elena nodded calmly. We understand the disparity in our apparent capabilities, Commander. That's why I've been authorized to suggest you check your long-range sensors. You should be detecting an approaching vessel by now. Azrax glanced at his sensor officer, who nodded confirmation. One ship. Azrax laughed again. You believe a single vessel constitutes a deterrent against the coalition. That depends on the ship, Elena replied. The HSS Thunderstrike is what we call a Q ship. Q stands for quantum. As if on cue, a vessel materialized less than 10 kilometers from the eternal dominance, impossibly close for any known form of FTL exit. Coalition sensors hadn't detected its approach until it was already there. The human ship was smaller than Azrax had expected, perhaps 1 kilometer in length. Its hull was a deep charcoal gray with minimal markings, its lines smooth and predatory. There were no visible weapon emplacements, no external engine nacelles, nothing that conformed to known starship design principles. Scanning, the sensor officer reported, his voice suddenly tense. "Sir, I can't. Our sensors aren't penetrating their hull." And the energy readings. He trailed off, mandibles clicking in agitation. "What about the energy readings?" Azrax demanded. "They don't make sense, sir. According to our instruments, the human vessel is everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. It's as if it's partially phased out of normal space-time." A new face appeared on the communication screen beside Dr. Rice, a dark-skinned human male with close-cropped silver hair and piercing eyes. "Commander Azrax, I am Captain Kiran Malik of the human strategic ship Thunderstrike. You are currently targeting a civilian research vessel under my protection. You will stand down immediately." Azrax bristled at the human's tone. "You dare to issue commands to the Coalition? One ship against our armada is suicide, regardless of whatever technological tricks you're employing." "This isn't a trick, Commander," Malik replied calmly. 30 years ago, Earth physicists made a breakthrough in quantum field manipulation that allowed us to take a different path than conventional FTL development. We chose to keep this quiet while we established ourselves among the stars. The Thunderstrike is one of 27 Q ships in Earth's defensive fleet. "Sir," the weapons officer interrupted, "I'm unable to establish a targeting lock on the human vessel. It's as if it's not fully present in our dimensional plane." Azrax felt the first stirrings of unease. The Coalition had encountered thousands of species over its long history, and while many had unique technologies, all adhered to the same fundamental physical principles. Whatever the humans were doing violated those principles. "Your vessel will be examined thoroughly once we've disabled it," Azrax declared, trying to maintain his authoritative demeanor. "All weapons target the human warship. Full spread." "I wouldn't recommend that," Captain Malik said. "The quantum displacement field surrounding the Thunderstrike tends to have unpredictable effects on energy weapons. The feedback alone could disable your vessel." "Sir," the sensor officer called out, 3 more quantum signatures detected. They're already here." Sure enough, 3 more human vessels had appeared at equidistant points around the Coalition ship, effectively surrounding it. Unlike the Thunderstrike, these ships were smaller and appeared to be made for speed rather than direct confrontation. Captain Malik's expression remained neutral. "Commander, I'm authorized to inform you that Earth is not interested in conflict with the Galactic Coalition. However, we will not submit to subjugation or resource extraction. We propose instead a diplomatic summit to establish mutual recognition and territorial boundaries." Azrax's mind raced. 4 ships against his cruiser still represented no numerical threat, but the humans' technology was an unknown variable. Their ability to appear without detection, their immunity to sensor scans, and whatever quantum displacement technology they possessed made them unpredictable. The Coalition's military doctrine was built on absolute technological superiority, which for the first time in centuries was not guaranteed. "You have 1 hour to consider our proposal," Malik continued. "The Thunderstrike will remain on station to ensure the safety of the Discovery. Choose wisely, Commander." The communication cut off, leaving the bridge of the eternal dominance in stunned silence. Azrax stared at the human vessels surrounding his ship, his compound eyes narrowing. This first contact had not gone according to protocol at all. The silent deterrent. Admiral Lysandra Zhang stood on the observation deck of Luna Command, Earth's primary military installation, watching tactical displays of the confrontation unfolding 26 trillion kilometers away. Through the transparent aluminum viewport behind her, Earth hung in space like a blue jewel, peaceful and seemingly insignificant against the vast backdrop of stars. "Time to Coalition response," she asked her aide. 17 minutes remaining in Captain Malik's ultimatum. "Admiral," Lieutenant Commander Diaz responded, checking his neural interface. Zhang nodded, her expression betraying nothing of the tension she felt. After 30 years of preparation, Humanity's greatest secret was exposed. The Quantum Defense Initiative had been created specifically for this moment. First contact with a hostile advanced civilization. But theory and simulation were poor substitutes for the real thing. Status of the task force. The Thunderstrike maintains primary engagement position with the Harrier, Peregrine, and Osprey in support configuration. Quantum displacement fields are stable at 87% coherence. The Coalition vessel continues active scanning, but has powered down weapon systems. Zhang allowed herself a small smile. They're confused. Good. The quantum displacement technology that powered Earth's defensive fleet was revolutionary not just in its capabilities, but in its fundamental approach to physics. While conventional FTL travel involved manipulating space-time to achieve faster-than-light travel, quantum displacement operated on entirely different principles, allowing vessels to exist partially in multiple probability states simultaneously. The practical effects were profound. Q-ships could appear instantly anywhere within their operational range without a detectable approach. They were nearly impossible to target with conventional weapons since they weren't fully present in normal spacetime, and they could observe without being fully observed, a military application of the quantum observer effect. Admiral, Diaz interrupted her thoughts. We're receiving a transmission from the Coalition vessel. Put it through. The holographic display materialized in the center of the command center, showing Commander Azrax. The alien's compound eyes and mandibles gave his expression an unreadable quality to human sensibilities, but his posture seemed less aggressive than before. Admiral Zhang of Earth Command, he began, his translator rendering his chittering speech into English. Your Captain Malik referred us to you for diplomatic negotiations. Commander Azrax, Zhang acknowledged with a nod. I trust you've reconsidered your position regarding Earth's sovereignty. The alien's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation, according to the xenobiologists monitoring the feed. The Coalition does not recognize the sovereignty of pre-integration species. However, given the unusual nature of your technological development, the High Council may be willing to consider a special arrangement. Zhang kept her expression neutral. There is nothing to arrange. Commander, Earth and its colonies are not available for integration or resource extraction. We are, however, open to establishing formal diplomatic relations with the Coalition as equals. Equals. Azrax's translator couldn't fully convey the indignation in his response. The Coalition spans 3 spiral arms and encompasses 17 member species. Your civilization has barely left its home system. And yet here we are, Zhang replied calmly. Your sensors have confirmed what our ships can do. What they can't tell you is what else we're capable of. She nodded to Diaz, who transmitted a data packet to the Coalition vessel. I've sent you information on what we call the Quantum Defense Grid. In addition to our fleet of Q-ships, Earth has developed a system of quantum displacement satellites surrounding our home system and major colonies. Any hostile fleet entering our protected space would find our navigational systems compromised, their weapons rendered inoperative, and potentially their entire vessels shifted into parallel probability states. This was humanity's ultimate deterrent, and its greatest bluff. The quantum defense grid existed, but not at the scale Zhang implied. Earth was still vulnerable to a determined attack by a force as large as the Coalition. The strategy relied on making the cost of such an attack too high to contemplate. Aboard the Eternal Dominance, Azrax reviewed the human data packet with mounting concern. If even half of what they claimed was true, a conventional assault on Earth would be catastrophic for the attacking force. Could they really have developed such technology? He asked his science officer. Unknown, Commander, the Eridax scientist replied. Their approach to quantum mechanics diverges significantly from established universal principles. In theory, what they describe is not impossible. Vril, his executive officer, moved closer. Commander, I've received a priority communication from the High Council. They're concerned about the situation. Concerned, Azrax repeated, his mandibles clicking softly. The coalition has never encountered a species that developed quantum manipulation before conventional spacetime manipulation. The Council believes this may indicate humans followed a completely different technological evolution path. They're requesting caution until this anomaly can be studied further. Azrax's compound eyes focused on the human vessels surrounding his ship. The implications were troubling. The Coalition's entire strategy of expansion relied on technological superiority, specifically their mastery of hyperspace technology that allowed them to outmaneuver and overwhelm less advanced civilizations. But humans had somehow bypassed that developmental stage entirely, jumping directly to something different, possibly something more advanced. And if we were to test their defenses, he asked. The Council specifically advised against provocation. Vrel responded, if the humans' claims about their quantum defense grid are accurate, we could lose the entire subjugation fleet without inflicting meaningful damage. Azrax felt the bitter taste of concession. In all his years serving the Coalition, he had never been forced to retreat from a pre-integration species. Yet the alternative, risking a military catastrophe based on incomplete information, was unacceptable. Prepare a response to the human admiral, he ordered reluctantly. On the observation deck of the Discovery, Dr. Elena Reyes watched the standoff through the viewport. The Coalition vessel dwarfed her research ship, its alien design both beautiful and terrifying in its otherness. The 4 human Q-ships maintained their positions, their dark hulls barely visible against the backdrop of space, except when they caught the light of Proxima Centauri. Do you think they'll back down? Asked Marcus Chen, who stood beside her. Elena considered the question. They're calculating risk versus reward. Their entire civilization is built on the assumption of technological superiority. We've just shown them that assumption doesn't always hold. But we're bluffing, aren't we? Marcus whispered. Earth doesn't have the capabilities Admiral John claimed. Not yet, Elena agreed quietly. But they don't know that. The question is whether they're willing to risk finding out the hard way. Her neural interface chimed, indicating an incoming transmission. Admiral Zhang is addressing the crew. Putting it on speaker. Zhang's voice filled the observation deck. All personnel, this is Admiral Zhang. The Coalition has agreed to withdraw from the Proxima Centauri system and initiate formal diplomatic relations with Earth. Commander Azrax will depart immediately with the understanding that a human delegation will meet with Coalition representatives at a neutral location within 30 days. A cheer went up from the crew members gathered in the observation deck. Elena felt a wave of relief wash over her, but it was tempered by the knowledge that this was just the beginning. We've bought time, she said to Marcus, but now we need to make good on our bluff. You think they'll come back with a bigger fleet? He asked. Eventually, yes. The Coalition doesn't strike me as an entity that accepts limitation easily. They'll study us, probe for weaknesses, and when they think they understand our technology, they'll try again. Then we better make sure our deterrent is real by then, Marcus replied. 1 week later, Elena found herself in a secure conference room deep within Luna Command. Admiral Zhang sat at the head of the table, with representatives from Earth's unified government, military, and scientific community filling the remaining seats. The Quantum Defense Initiative will receive triple its current funding, announced Secretary General Adeyemi. Dr. Rice, in recognition of your handling of first contact, you're being appointed as Chief Diplomatic Liaison to the Coalition. Elena straightened in her chair. Thank you, Madam Secretary, but I'm a researcher, not a diplomat. Which is precisely why you're perfect for the role, Zhang interjected. The Coalition respects technical knowledge above all else. You understand both our capabilities and our limitations. You know exactly how far we can push our bluff while we make it a reality. Elena nodded slowly. The Coalition is likely doing exactly what we are. Reassessing. Adapting. Preparing. We would be naive to think one encounter has changed their expansionist ideology. Which is why the silent deterrent must become real. Secretary General Adeyemi agreed. Humanity has always excelled when our backs are against the wall. Now we have a deadline and an existential motivation, and we have one advantage they don't. Alina added, a small smile forming. They think they know what we're capable of. We know we've only just begun to explore the possibilities. As the meeting continued around her, Alina found herself thinking about Commander Azrax and the coalition he represented. In their arrogance, they had expected to find just another primitive species to subjugate. Instead, they had awakened humanity's greatest strength, the ability to innovate when faced with extinction. The human quantum ships outside maintained their vigilant patrol of Earth's solar system, their very existence a message to the cosmos. Humanity is not prey. Sometimes, the most effective weapon is the one you never have to fire.